NBA DFS show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, NBA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. We got Thursday here. We got 3 games on the main slate. Starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time here, so a later roster lock than usual. Minnesota, Chicago. Chicago in the second leg of a back-to-back. Chicago at home in this one. Portland, San Antonio. San Antonio, second leg of a back-to-back. Utah, Milwaukee closing out the main slate. All 3 games start at 8 p.m. Eastern time as well. So you'll know at the same time which where your standings are at the end of the contest here. And honestly, kind of some good matchups. I mean, Portland, San Antonio has a chance to be pretty fun, assuming they don't limit any of the Spurs who are, they're all limited on the front leg because they got blown out. So hopefully we get some full minutes out of the San Antonio guys here. Utah, Milwaukee, we'll have to see, what's going on with Giannis, obviously questionable after not playing their most recent game. Lauri Markkanen, full practice, though, so we can see Lauri back
in Clarkson. And Clarkson full practice in that one, too.
Yeah, because they're both back in the lineup there. And then Minnesota, Chicago, we've had Zach LaVine miss the last 2 games. We'll see whether or not he is able to return for Chicago here in the second leg going up against Minnesota in that one. Minnesota, obviously, a wagon at times. Highest paced team in the NBA in the Chicago Bulls. So should be a fun slate to look at and build lineups. With it being a smaller slate, we'll have more concentrated rostership as well, going towards the high price plays, and we'll try to find some value along the way. Your point guard position give you Dame Lillard. If Giannis does not play because he's waiting to be traded, he has an injury to his knee or whatever he's dealing with. Dame ain't scared. Back-to-back
Traditis.
Yeah,
Giannis has Traditis. Yeah.
Back-to-back games against Cleveland. Many would think that is a tough matchup. Dame says nay. 41 and 36 actual points scored from Damian Lillard in the last 2 games against Cleveland. Now draws Utah at a home matchup. That feels like a great spot. He is $2,000 more expensive than the next set of guards here. So you have Lillard in tier A. You have Simons, Giddey, Paul, and George, I'll say, as your next true point guards in that next range here. Again, don't need to expand too much on Dame. More so, how would you break down that next grouping?
Hilarious. Milwaukee's 1-6 with Dame and Giannis being so good. Because they've both been really good outside of like one game this year.
Can't play defense.
Yeah, can't play defense. The next tier, obviously, the first thing that popped was Chris Paul's price, $1,000 more than it was the Wednesday slate. That's a little interesting. I get it because he's been so good outside of the Spurs just got waxed, right?
What's going to happen too, right? The slate will lock. Yeah. The algorithms will look at Paul's 20-minute game that he just had. Yep. And Friday slate, he is going to be back down to like $5,200.
50, somewhere in the
mid-fives. Or $6K or something like that. So,
but he did play 32 minutes on the second leg of a back-to-back. So I'm not really worried about it. I like Chris Paul. I'd go back to the well. Obviously, Portland isn't a good team. The Chicago guys are more intriguing if there's no Zach LaVine. Obviously, they ran into a good team on, Wednesday. Yeah. They run into another good team on Thursday. It is interesting that it's only a 7-point spread. That is a little intriguing, but this game, 226 implied points, it's more appealing from the Minnesota side, obviously. But
sure.
If there's no Zach LaVine, I think we have to take a look at Giddey. I think we have to take a look at Kobe White in tournaments. Simons is always a tournament play as he can fill it up fast. But I think I know Markkanen is practiced in full. He's listed questionable. If he's not playing, I keep saying it. Keontae George has been so good in terms of minutes, and the assists have been on the rise. And then obviously he's stealing game against the Bulls scoring, but would love if people are out again for Utah, just going right back to the well with George. Sexton was great.
13 free throw attempts. Let's keep seeing
13 free throw attempts, more than what in the last. the
total
rest of the
combined
games
this year,
combined.
right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Opening night, he had 9. Again, 6 of 12 from 3, 4 of 11 from 3. We knew he was chucking early on. Like we saw the 3-point attempts. We see what happens when he hits them. And you were right. You've been calling on Keontae George for a while now. They were super shorthanded. We got the 34 minutes out of Sexton, like we were calling for.
He was great. He was great.
24 actual, but if Clarkson's back and Markkinen's back, can't bank on that happening again. So John Collins had a huge game too, but again, hard to trust. He's going to play those minutes again if everybody is back there. We haven't really had a chance to play any Portland this year because they've been on late slates like the entire season for the most part. And those have been taken off the board for us. So, do you have any interest in like a Scoot or Simons or anybody?
Simons is fine for tournaments. Scoot has been bad. And it's mostly because they're starting Kamara, and Kamara is just simply their best defender, and he's been really good. He's been able to stay out of foul trouble. That was something that hurt him last year. So they're just playing Toumani Kamara because he's their best on-ball defender, and they're kind of winning games. Like they have 4 wins already this year. 3? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So not a lot of interest in Scoot. Probably the next guy I'd look at is DiVincenzo, who's starting to play really well after a slow start. 3 straight games, at least 20 fantasy points. DiVincenzo's gone for 32 and 27 in 2 of the last 3. The peripheral stats have been great. The threes we knew were going to be there.
I feel like I'm a little disappointed, honestly, in the 3-point attempts. Like this guy was taking like 10 a game last year.
It is a little
starting, playing more minutes, but I don't know. Don't you feel like he should be taking like 8 or 9 when he's on the floor? Like that should
be
wrong. The spot. Maybe he'll get there. Maybe he'll get there. Yeah.
I think he'll get there, especially if the minutes are going to stay the way that they have, and they're going to limit Conley.
Yeah.
Interesting note, by the way, for Portland, and I don't know why Shaedon Sharpe is listed as a point guard. Upgraded to questionable for the first time this year, so that could not be the best for like using Portland in this spot, but obviously, he is a pretty high usage player when he's out there. I'm not saying use him, but that is a deterrent, I think, from the rest of Portland. They
flamethrower AJ Green.
Yeah, I mean they used AJ Green a lot the other day. I think that's probably if someone produces, they're immediately going to play because that's where we are right now. No one is producing, so
he went from a DNP to playing 34 minutes and knocking down 7 threes.
Dude, and that has been his MO since day one, where he's like can just shoot. So AJ Green's interesting. NEW continues to be just like fine. He's under 4K. You can get there. They actually
They played Jackson as well.
They did play Jackson. They did play Jackson. He's very like low floor guy, but
if Giannis is out though, that's where those minutes are.
If Giannis is out, I agree. Did you see did you see we got the Delano Banton game? Did you see what happened for Delano Banton in that game?
No. I see now 27 and 12 minutes.
12 minutes, he had 20 points. Obviously not sustainable. But I just wanted to point out that
I get it. They're healthy. They don't have a reason to play him, but they paid him. So they just kind of paid him for his performance last year. But like he was doing this very consistently in like 30 minutes a night for them last year. So
it's only going to get worse for him now that Shaedon Sharpe's back too.
It's crazy that they don't think he can play over any of these guys. It's funny to me. Shooting guard Ian Edwards, $9,300 in Chicago. Probably one of your top plays overall the day. I get it though. Like hasn't been good in terms of fantasy production, paying it off the last couple of games. Why are you taking 11 shots against Charlotte? I get it, 29 minutes, but like you should be the attacker.
Correct.
In those spots. You should be the reason they're blowing them out, in my opinion.
Yep. Agreed.
Then we got all these guys down here. We'll see what goes on with there. Not going to touch Clarkson in his return. Kamara's been good, but are you worried now about Sharpe? Is that what the deal is here?
I think Sharpe still comes off the bench. I'm doing good with him. He's their best defender. I think they're going to play him. I think Scoot, how bad Scoot's been, I think he's hurt the most. Who else are they starting? Simons, Kamara, Grant, Zubats, and Denny. Denny's probably hurt a little bit. I mean, they probably all take a little hit because they're going to play Shaedon Sharpe a lot of minutes. They drafted him in the lottery a few years ago. But if Sharpe doesn't play, obviously Kamara is perfectly fine. He's playing big minutes. Champagnie should play big minutes. What did Castle play before before that game got out of hand? Did Castle play a bunch of minutes, or
he started? I feel like they short rotated everybody in that game.
Let's go. Where is Spurs?
He played 25 minutes in that game. No, only Champagnie of the starters played more than 25. And they went 20 deep on their bench. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They played all 10 guys on their bench. So
they played 15. They
played all 15 guys. Yep.
I mean, would you give Castle a look at 44? Or you think that's too expensive?
I mean, if he's starting again, I would give him a consideration.
Probably no reason to think he won't.
It's a small slate. He did have 3 steals. He took 8 shots. So good numbers to produce. There's not like a lot of other obvious value here, so that's kind of where you go. I mean, Connaughton had a good game, but you basically need Giannis out. You know?
I don't have any
of those
signs of life.
Yeah, we talked Johnny Zhang, but again, there's guys back, so like he probably doesn't play the minutes.
No.
So yeah, I don't know. Small forward again. We think Lordy will be back. Will he be limited?
Play him. If he's not limited, I would play him.
Okay.
Milwaukee's bad.
Yeah, I know. I was super high on Denny coming into the year. Obviously, last game notwithstanding, he's been pretty decent. Last couple of games here, so yeah, maybe a spot for him at small forward at 63. You got Keldon. Again, Champagnie played 28 minutes in that game, 13, 3, and 2, hit 5 of 9 and 3 of 6 from 3. So like good numbers. If they gave him another 6 minutes, maybe he would have got better, overall production there.
Yep.
Again, not a lot of stuff here. So
Cody Williams had the game, but I doubt that Cody Williams continues to have the game.
Yeah, now with everybody back, right?
I guess what do you think they do? Because didn't they start when Hendricks first got hurt? They started Cody Williams, right? And Markkanen. So
and the Markkanen got immediately hurt
in that first game. In the first game, yeah. I don't know. I guess if Cody Williams were starting still, it'd be like, but he's a $3,900 value play on a slate with not a lot of value. Do you think Jaden McDaniels would play here or be able to stay out of foul trouble? He has been largely terrible.
I mean, the thing on a 3-game slate is like 17 fantasy points might be good, right? Because
if he doesn't foul,
it's comparable to like the players around him at the position. So it's like Trent, Prince, Castle, McDaniels, like all those guys are 15 to 20 fantasy point guys with a floor of 5 and like a ceiling of 30, maybe, right? Like, so like, I think on these slates, if you get 4x instead of 5x, you actually might be okay if, given where the price range is, of course, because there's less players you're choosing from. So
McDaniels of that group too probably has the highest minutes.
Yeah, you get some,
right?
Yeah, because you have blocks and steals. If he comes out of here with like 6 blocks and steals against Chicago or something like that, right? Like, there's 16, 18 points. So 12 and 18 points. All right, power forward. This is obviously where it gets quite interesting. Randall's in a great spot here at $8,200. Just everything about this matchup, pace up, all of it kind of plays together and works out well here. Giannis up at the top though, 11-1, and we have matchup against Utah. We'll see as to whether or not he can get on the floor or not. The numbers have been ridiculous though. So
he's the top player. Raw points. If he plays, you just go for raw points. You play Giannis, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, 70 upside, right? Like nothing. If he's in, it's home. It's Utah. they don't have anybody that can deal with him defensively. Not many teams.
And nobody can.
Dude, look what he did.
Nobody can.
If anybody was going to do it, it would have been Mobley and Allen, and he went for 34, 16, and 9. So
there's no chance.
I don't know. Maybe see what happens when he goes up against like Anthony Davis or something, maybe, or like Wemby. You know, we were. I know we were all jacked up with that matchup last year, right? Like
block. Yeah, there was the national televised game, right?
Yeah,
where he had that
where Wemby didn't jump, he just
it was crazy.
Standing on his feet. So yeah, like Randall's in a great spot. Giannis is a great spot. Portis will be 100% rostered if Giannis is out.
He will.
$6,800 will be 100% rostered.
Yep.
There'd be no reason to not play him rather at all.
Nope.
John Collins, 31 minutes, 12 of 17. He's been amazing. They obviously haven't been playing him minutes, but they had no choice, and he popped. So like, I think even with Markkanen back, I still think he's in your player pool on this size slate. So,
dude, if you're Will Hardy, how can you look at this and be like, nah, I don't want him in the starting lineup at this point? It just doesn't make sense. You're just, if that's the case, he has to be sabotaging his team.
Yeah, 100%.
Sabotaging the team if he doesn't start John Collins at this point. It doesn't matter if Markkanen's there or not. Why start? Like, I get Cody Williams was the first round pick. Cody Williams, you're 1-6. You're the worst team in the NBA. Like, just play Collins. He's been great.
I agree. Keldon's there. Naz Reid, obviously. Could be a spot if you play Patrick Williams just on on a smaller slate. Like, he's been okay enough to pay off 4,800. Anything else down here?
The Chris Murray minutes have kind of gone away. Julian Phillips, no, I don't think there's, unless like we had someone ruled out.
Yeah, I agree. And then center gives us Wemby at 10.5. Vucevic, $8,500, obviously. Interesting spot for him against Gobert on the opposite side. Ayton gets the Wemby matchup. Then some of the guys we've already talked about. Only 25 minutes for Wemby in that game, so like you think he's ready to go, and coming off the 70 fantasy points a couple of games prior, you think there'd be no minutes limitation here, so would just be willing to fire him back up, honestly.
Yeah, and the first 60, almost 70 fantasy point game he had was the second leg of a back-to-back. So we shouldn't really worry about the Utah or the back-to-back stuff. I think Wemby's all systems go. Vooch, I think, is in a great spot if there's no Levine. I know Gobert's good defensively. Vooch is also really good offensively. So if you want to play Nikola Vucevic, that is perfectly fine. I think Ayton's really safe. DeAndre Safeton is what I'll call him. Yeah. That's just what he is. Like, pretty steady, double-double threat, like every single night at this point. So if you want to play Ayton, that's great. And Gobert's had some pops. I mean, last game was the Naz Reid game, and you can always tell when Gobert is not having the pop game. It's always a Naz Reid game. But twice he's gone for 42 plus fantasy points. Like, that's definitely in the cards.
Agreed. Talking about some value, there's Brolo here, Naz Reid, as you talked about. Always a tournament play. Could be a spot for Jalen Smith, honestly, if you ever wanted to, like, 3-game slate, $3,600, throw him in your util and hope he gets you 30. It gives you the 10x game down here, where he played 29 fantasy points in 12 minutes. You just have to know going into it he's not playing more than 15. And that's kind of the deal. What did he get tonight on that blowout? Did he get
16,
extra run?
16. He's not in the blowout.
Is he on the floor right now?
No, he's not.
So, yeah, that's kind of where you're at with him. Tonight in 16 minutes, he did nothing. 2, 5, and 1. That's your 1 for 5 shooting, 4 fouls. That's your Jalen Smith in a nutshell right there. So, but like I said, it's a 3-game slate. You want to get a little weird with it. Like, he has pretty crazy ceiling potential at this, at that price. So, anything else? Time Lord didn't play, right? He was just active. Cleared to play, did not play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to play over Clingan, but we'll see. Maybe like Portland's bad, so they might try different things.
Yep, I agree 100%. All right, let's get a lineup build going.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of value that we loved.
We're playing George, right?
Yeah,
George.
Giannis.
Yeah,
It's gonna be tough to play Giannis on this.
I think I just set us up just to play Jalen Smith.
My Siri just went off when I said Giannis.
We'll just do Jalen Smith here for now. And I think on this slate, it's actually not the worst type of play. We think Castle will start again. 6,100.
Yes.
Would you like Kamara? 51. Champagne 5K.
Yeah, Champagne's fine. I think
Okay.
Champagne's
$6,500. We could probably get Ant. That'd be 5,100. Go right back to Kamara, I guess, and then you tell us 49 DDV. All right, not terrible. We got Ant and Giannis in this lineup. George, Castle, Champagny, Giannis, Smith, Edwards, Kamara, and DiVincenzo. Again, we're obviously taking some risk with Jalen Smith there, but we got 2 spend ups on a small slate, some value surrounding it. For an example lineup for all of you guys. Again, we'll be back here tomorrow. We'll have the playbook out for everybody. If you have any questions, find us on Discord and get us on Twitter, and we'll catch you later.